So today we are back on with the i200 restoration project, and the eagle-eyed viewers will notice now we do have a second ramp in the unit. So we've had this first ramp in storage for about 2 years now, and we kept saying we're going to put it up, we're going to put it up. And in the end we bit the bullet 2 years after we bought it and eventually installed this ramp in the unit. Once we got that in the unit, we thought, why the hell did we not do that 2 years ago? Which then pressed us to actually think, you know what, let's get another one, get the i200 on it, make life far easier. So only a cheap ramp, is a used one, but still in good condition. All the tolerances are good, so that will do us for what we need. I mean, they're not lifting a lot of weight anyway. But now it's on the ramp, I thought I'd give you a little look under the car from some of the work we did previously. A couple of years ago I did all the welding on this car. I stone chipped it all underneath. Now we are going to be keying this up, rubbing it back down and going over this with gloss, because I'm not entirely happy with the finish on this. It looks a little bit dull. Thought the stone chip that I bought would have a bit of a shine to it, like the black stuff does that I use. Same product, just a different colour, and it's turned out quite flat on the paint. So we are going to be going over this with some 2-pack white, same colour as the car, so the whole shell then basically is one colour. So let's have a little look. Still looking good under here. I mean, you remember we put full chassis rails in this from about here, both sides, all the way down, right down to the back. We put jacking points on it, we put the closing panels on. Does want a little bit of work this, there is a few hammer marks. This was quite a difficult panel to fit, this was. It's first time I've actually ever done these, so getting them to fit was difficult. But again, once we sand this down, we are going to be going over this and giving it a bit of a skim and just making it look as good as it can be. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's a good starting point. Well, I'll say starting point. I'm just happy that all the welding is now done on this car and don't have to spend the next 6 months welding the damn thing. So at least we can crack on with some nicer work now, some cleaner work. So show you a little look around this side. We put all new sills on her as well. Sills come out really well. We did all these closing panels on the inside. We did floor pans. We did wheel arch repair panels, got put in there as well. So yeah, I think she's looking pretty damn good under there, to be fair. Again, I ain't no professional, but I've done the best I can do with it, and I'm happy with it, so that's the main thing. Now Tom has been prepping inside the engine bay and some of the front panel as well. As you'll notice there now, this whole lower valance is in bare metal. It's starting to go up into the front panel. He's got the paint off the front cross member there, and all up inside here. He's starting to move his way into there now. He's going to get all up inside this front panel, strip all that out back down to the bare metal. This can all get treated. I'll just lower this car down and show you inside the engine bay, which is where he's made the most of the progress. So inside the engine bay there now, you can see that the bulk of it is down to the bare metal. Now we like to do this because mantas like to hide quite a lot of issues and previous repairs. So if you don't take it down to the bare metal, you'd never know what's lurking under there. There could be fiberglass, there could be filler, there could be rust that's building up underneath that paint that you just won't see until you've got it down to the bare metal. So we know once it's at the bare metal, we can treat it all properly and start again from scratch and put all the additives, all the proper paint and stuff on there, the proper primers, so we know that that rust is going to be held back as best as it can be. So yeah, he's making some really good headway in there. So if we go back over here, remember on the last episode we got this engine stripped. Now today I'm going to be completely stripping this block back down to the bare metal. I'm going to mask off the cylinders and the bottom end, and any holes are going to get plugged just to stop any debris going inside the engine. I'm going to be stripping this all the way down to bare metal. I'm going to be taking off these engine mounts, and then once this is down to bare metal, then we're going to be priming it and painting it and getting it all nice and clean. Over here we have my axles, front axle, rear axle. Again, on the last episode, Tom had actually got all the axles and all the components stripped off before he had time to film it. These have now been blasted. I actually managed to fit these, believe it or not, in my blasting cabinet. There is a couple of little bits that I couldn't get to, just sort of inside there, but we've got, I'd say, 99% of the rust off this, and the rest of it will just have to be done by hand. So they are now ready for primer. Tom's going to be picking these up in the morning. He's got the arms and the panhard rod, anti-roll bars, hubs and everything are already over at the paint shop, so Tom will pick these up tomorrow and get these primered, and then the whole lot can be painted in gloss black. So that is where I'm going to start, guys. I'm going to start to strip this block down. I'll be back with you shortly. Right, so that is the engine now in primer. I did strip this engine down to the bare metal using all sorts of wire wheels, wire brushes on the grinder, in the drills to get in all the nooks and crannies, get every last bit of paint off that block. I then treated that bare metal with phosphoric acid mix, which just gets into all the pitting, make sure that that is treated so that it doesn't blister the paint back off, it doesn't start to rust behind that paint and push the paint back off. I'll show you around this side, same around here. All in primer. That is the first coat of etch primer what I've put onto that bare steel. Now some of you guys are probably going to ask what products I'm using here. I'm not using high temperature paints on this. I tend to find that you don't get as good of a finish with the high temperature paint. It goes patchy, it's dull, it just doesn't look the best. Now these engines do not run that hot. I've done various engines like this. All the engines I've built I've done the same way, and I've not had any issues with the paint coming off. The cylinder head will be painted in high temperature paint because obviously that runs a little bit hotter with the exhaust manifold and stuff being on there, but the blocks themselves, obviously they're water cooled, they don't tend to get hot enough to cause any issues with that paint. Now the next step for this is going to be a couple of coats of a high build primer now, just to sort of fill in any of these little dimples from where I've pulled the rust out of the block. That'll fill those dimples in, make the block look nice and smooth, or as smooth as it can be. I'll give it a couple of coats of high build. Once that high build has gone off, I am wafting it with the heat gun as well, just to bake it onto the block. It does help it stick, I tend to find anyway. Once I finish with the priming stages, I'm going to start to hit it with some satin black, and then once the satin black's on, I'll give it a good few coats of satin black. I may even put some clear lacquer or clear coat over that black as well. So that is now 3 coats of the high build primer, and it has filled quite a few of those dimples, to be fair, and that's looking really, really nice now. Obviously it has got the texture on the block anyway, but considering how this block looked when I started, I'm very, very happy with that. Again, around this side, looking really, really nice indeed. So as I said, that is now 3 coats of high build primer. It's had a couple of coats of etch primer underneath that, so that is plenty of primer on that block. I'm going to let that go off now. I have give it a good hit in with the heat gun, which is over there. So that is nice and warm. I'll let that cool, let the paint go off, and then we'll start to hit it with some black. So that is now 4 coats of black on there, and I did lacquer it as well, just for good measure. I thought, while I'm here, may as well lacquer it, it'll only help. So that is looking pretty good now. Obviously the block is textured, so you will see some sort of ripples in there. That isn't in the paint, it is in the block. It is a cast block, so it isn't completely smooth, but I think that looks pretty good. Again, around here. Happy with that. Like I say, what we started with, guys, that was one rusty engine, now looks pretty mint. So the next step with this will be to send the head off once I've got the head back and it's been tested, skimmed, and all the valve stem seals replaced. Then we can get some paint on that head. I have dug out a replacement sump. If you remember on the last episode, that sump did look a little bit soft and a little bit corrusted, a little bit crusty underneath, so I've found a replacement sump. I need to get that painted. All my parts should be here tomorrow, all the new gaskets and seals, so that means we can then start to build this thing up. I do need to clean up the inlet manifold, exhaust manifold, all the front timing cover and everything needs cleaning up yet as well, so there's still plenty to do. Right, so I'm just on with stripping the thermostat housing down, and interestingly, there's no thermostat actually in there. So I can only assume that this car has been running hot at some point, so they've removed the thermostat. Now unfortunately, whilst I was taking that apart, one of the bolts has actually snapped in there. That was mega tight. I'm going to actually have a look and see if I've got a better one of these, because it is a little bit corroded inside there. Right guys, so I've got a few bits painted up here. It's only a quick rattle can job. I have used some etch primer on these as well, just to help hold that paint. I will be clear coating these also. The aluminium had deteriorated a little bit and it does go very dull. It's very hard to try and get these up to anywhere near nice enough to go on a fully restored car. So the quickest, easiest way is to just paint them basically. I've done this again on lots and lots of builds. I've not had any issues with the paint coming off, and once it's all unmasked and everything's put back together, it does look really good. I've also done the alternator over here. I have taped up the terminals and I've put some nuts just on the back there to protect the threads so it don't get paint on those threads. That's looking pretty good, hell of a lot better than it was. And then also we've got the throttle body here as well, which is also been painted, and again these will be getting clear coated just to help protect them a little bit more. Now, as I was saying earlier, unfortunately, the thermostat housing is not good enough to be reused on this car. I've just had another look at it and it's going very thin there. Let me see if I can get a better shot. It's going very thin there, very thin on the edge. It's just not very nice at all. And also again in there, you can see just how bad that is. It's gone really thin. There's actually a really deep rust pitting mark there right in the bottom. So yeah, I don't think that's going to last long at all. So I'll have to go and have a dig in my parts department and see if I've got one of these. I'm pretty sure I do. And also I'll probably look for a new cover as well. I've got these couple of bits of the bracket to do, and the idle control valve also wants cleaning and painting. I have put some primer on the inlet manifold, although I'm not quite happy with these. The casting marks on these are really poor. You can see there, they're so lumpy and bumpy, so I'm actually going to give this a good rubbing down and try and make it look a lot smoother than they are. You can just see all the little holes and stuff in it. They're just a really poor cast, and they just don't look very nice at all when they're painted. So I'm going to have a little bit of work on this, and I might give it a little bit of a skim and just neaten it up and get it as nice as I can. So after stripping this engine to the bare metal, priming it and painting it, getting it all looking nice and clean and shiny, I started cleaning up these pistons a little bit. Now, there was sooted up on the top, so I've been giving them a quick clean up, getting all the soot off. Now, they did look originally really good. Obviously they was covered in soot. Now, as I began to clean them up, you can actually see there's quite a lot of pitting on top of them pistons. And also, I don't know if you can see that on the camera. You can see that on the camera there. After cleaning it up, there is some markings on the bore, and it does look like this bore has had water in it at some point, which will possibly explain why the thermostat is missing. It's likely that head gasket was on its way out. It's been putting a bit of water in there, and obviously combustion gas is coming out and getting into the cooling system, probably causing the car to overheat. And also in this bore, you'll see there, you can see that again, that just up here there is quite a deep scratch in that bore as well. So that is a shame, because that means now that this is going to have to go off to the engine builder, and it's probably going to have new pistons, new rings, probably have this bored out. I don't think they'll get that by honing it, although they will probably try. so it's going to end up getting rebored, new pistons, new rings. They're also going to rebuild the bottom end while it's at the engine builder. Just makes sense to do it all if it's going. And they're also going to take over and do the cylinder head refurb as well, fit new valve stem seals in there and lap those valves back into the head. So that now needs to go away. It'll probably come back scratched and chipped, so I'll probably end up now having to repaint it as well. Awesome. So that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. The engine has now been sent off to the engine builder. I'm now just waiting on the return of that. Tom's cracking on with the bodywork. So in the next coming episodes should be some great progress to be made. Thanks for watching. Please give us a like, share and subscribe. See you on the next one.